Good morning and welcome to the Community Foundation virtual learning session. I'm Peggy Ryder, member of the Community Foundation, Women for Women, and former grant committee chair. It was my honor to work with the nonprofits as they wound their way through the application process. One of the organizations that always rose to the top was Girls on the Run. Combining fitness with lessons on bullying, cybersecurity, eating problems is a great idea. Girls on the Run received grants from Women for Women in 2011, 2015, and 2017 to purchase curriculum and program materials for the girls and the coaches. So now we come to 2020. How is this group faring during our trying times? To answer these and other questions, I would like to introduce Jennifer Sublett, Executive Director of Girls on the Run.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Peggy, and thank you to all of you for having us here today. Erin, if you could, oh, you just did that. Get our shared screen put together here. Thanks for having me for this kickoff virtual learning. Yeah, we're having to find new ways to connect with each other, new ways to socialize, and I'm going to talk about the new ways we've been trying to do Girls on the Run since all of this happened. So I have been with Girls on the Run for the last 8 years. I actually got involved, much like all of our other participants, board members, coaches. I was asked to volunteer by a friend, and I volunteered at one of the community 5Ks. And I didn't know a whole lot about the program, but I saw hundreds of girls running, smiling, laughing, crowds of people cheering them on and being excited for them. And I just knew that something very special was happening with Girls on the Run. So again, I've been here for 8 years. Prior to that, most of you know me. I worked for the Community Foundation, and prior to that with Habitat for Humanity. So I've been in the Springfield area working in not-for-profits for about 18 years now. Of course, just like everyone else, have not experienced anything like COVID-19 before. But here we are, and gotta just keep moving forward, just like we tell the girls when they're running and when they're setting their goals. It's not about how fast they go, but it's about putting one foot in front of the other and going a little bit further than last time. So that's what we're doing. We're adapting and moving forward. So one of the really unique things about Girls on the Run is while we are working with the girls on their physical activity, and they do complete a 5K at the end of the program, it really is about so much more than running. The social emotional components and the life skills to our program are really what creates the foundation for the changes that we're able to see in girls. And that physical activity reinforces the goal setting that they go throughout their season. So again, many of you are somewhat familiar with Girls on the Run. Typically we have a fall season and a spring season. The girls meet for 10 weeks. Twice a week after school with trained mentors. And a big basis of that building blocks of the curriculum is these life skills. Life skills such as managing emotions, resolving conflict, helping others, and being intentional in your decision making. And so these life skills are defined as tools that they're able to learn in one area of their life, such as learning it at Girls on the Run, and applying it in other areas of their life, such as school, at home, or in their communities. And all of this really matters for the girls, the ages that we're serving. We typically serve girls about 8 to 13 years old. And right at this age is when their bullying is starting to happen amongst classmates. Girls' confidence begins to drop, and their physical activity levels also begin to drop. So Friday the 13th, the evil Friday the 13th, March 13th, we were in week 2 of our spring season when the governor made the announcement that schools would be closing the following Tuesday. And we had been, of course, paying attention to the coronavirus as it was unfolding, you know, throughout our country, and then as it was getting kind of closer to home in our state and our city. And so we were ready. So I think that announcement on Friday, March 15th or March 13th happened around 3 p.m. And by 4:30 p.m. on Friday, we had already communicated with all of our coaches and with all of our spring parents. We had about 700 girls enrolled in the spring program. So we had communicated with everyone that we would be able to continue to have some activities through our GOTR At Home, and to stay tuned for more information. So that's about how we ended up finishing up our season, is some GOTR At Home activities. These were not exact Girls on the Run curriculum lessons because we had to do all of this so quickly that we were able to have mirrored virtual lessons. But each of the families received 2 different GOTR At Home lessons each week for the remainder of the season. We were also able, after the first week, we didn't have any videos, but after the first week, we were able to have some password protective YouTube videos so that the girls could follow along with someone doing the lessons. And that seemed to be really helpful. We were wanting to make sure that our girls could continue to grow, continue to learn, that they had some positive activities. I know we were all a lot more scared. You know, we're all probably still very fearful of COVID-19, but there was a lot of fear back in March and April. And so we really wanted these positive lessons to continue, you know, making sure to drive home those Girls on the Run core values. So our season usually concludes with a big 5K event, and our 5K that was scheduled for this past May would have had about 1,400 participants. So with you know, all the closures, we said, even though this is outdoors, there's just no way that we can do this. And one of our adaptations was to convert our 5K into a virtual day of play. We decided not to go with just a straight out virtual 5K. We were serving 700 different girls, all kinds of different rural and urban areas. And we just were concerned about access and telling a 3rd or 4th grader, hey, go run a 5K this Saturday, without being able to provide very much guidance. We weren't sure about the safety of that. And so we did convert to this day of play that definitely kept girls active and moving that morning, all online. We were also concerned about access for this particular event as well. So we did mail a packet to all of our spring program girls with their own coloring sheet bib, so they could make their own bib for the day. If they couldn't join us for this end of season celebration, we sent some physical activities that they could complete, a physical activity bingo card, so they could do some various things to feel like they'd concluded their season. So part of our day of play, we had 2 live workouts from our partners at Orange Theory and Snap Fitness. We had some surprise challenges, Scavenger Hunt. Here are some photos of one of our surprise challenges. They had 15 minutes to spell GOTR with anything they had in their house. And every time the girls would post a picture, or comment, it would be another entry into our prizes that day. So we had a lot of fun with that one. Also had some pictures of girls on their scavenger hunt and the different things that they were able to find. One of them was a 4-leaf clover, and I was very, very jealous because tons of people found one and I could not find a 4-leaf clover to save my life, but these girls know where to look, I guess. So that Girls on the Run Day of Play, that kind of rounded out our spring season. Spring was pretty tough on us, as you can imagine, as it was on everyone. You know, as our economy shut down and everyone was staying home. A few of the things that we did in order to support our families was, the very first thing we did is decided not to charge any payment plans. We offer 2 and 3 month payment plans, and immediately put a pause on that while we tried to figure out what was going to happen. You know, a lot of our thoughts back in March was, you know, hey, we're going to go home for 2 weeks and then everything will be okay. So we weren't sure what was going to happen. So we paused our payment plans. We knew that there was immediate job loss. And once we hit about mid-April, we knew that we were not going to be able to have the big spring 5K. We knew the season was probably not going to get back together in person. And it really wasn't going to be what a lot of parents had signed up for. So in April, we did offer some prorated refunds. That was a process that we managed by asking parents to opt in if they were interested in that. And we did provide about $14,000 in refunds. And again, we just, we knew that we were going to struggle financially, but we knew it was the right thing to do because the financial situation for families just changed overnight. In addition to that, we did cancel the in-person 5K. So we have a lot of community members, a lot of parents, family members that come out and participate in that. So after the spring season, our losses were about $35,000. That's a pretty big chunk for Girls on the Run. The silver lining was that we were able to receive a PPP loan in April. That was definitely kept us going. And we knew that if we could make it to fall and have a semi-normal fall season, that we might be able to weather the storm. Here we are getting ready for our fall season to start in 2 weeks. And we're saying, well, if we could just have a normal spring, if next spring will just be a little bit more normal. But one of the ways we did try to pivot and adapt is to offer this Power Up activity kit over the summer. Last year in 2019, we started Camp GOTR, and we also had to cancel camp. So we did want to offer some fun activities over the summer. So we had different activity booklets, lessons. This little kit, it sold for $49, included a t-shirt and swag, a completion certificate, and then also a physical activity booklet of activities they could do over the summer. So that was one way that we tried to, again, provide some programming for the girls and make sure that we were staying connected with our families. So as I mentioned, we are getting ready for fall. Our fall season's definitely going to look a lot different. So we are very blessed that we have been able to come up with a hybrid curriculum since we had time over the summer. So that means that we have the ability to meet in person with specific adaptations and specific guides for all of our coaches on how they can adapt any lesson to minimize physical touch, to make sure that girls aren't sharing materials. We also have mirrored virtual lessons. And again, I think a few months ago, we thought that August was going to be a little bit different, maybe that schools were going to go back, but maybe they'd have outbreaks and need to go home and then they'd be back. I don't think most of us imagine that most schools would be learning remotely right now. So we had 2 options with our virtual curriculum. This is our standard Girls on the Run curriculum, but we've added a virtual component to it so that girls can meet in person. They can have a period where they need to meet virtually together and come back together, you know, just kind of seamlessly. We do have about 10 teams signed up for our fall program, but unfortunately this is only about a quarter to a third of what we would normally see. And as you can imagine, with about 85% of our volunteer mentors also being teachers, a lot of teams had said, yes, we'll try in June when we asked, and October hit, and with all the uncertainties of what schools were doing, a lot of our sites just had to say, I've got to take a pause. This is a lot for me right now, just to figure out my remote learning. But we do have this amazing virtual curriculum, and we do have some long-term sites that have decided to come back. And I know that in speaking with our coaches, that they are back and willing to, try this new way, because they know that the girls need these lessons now more than ever. We know girls are returning to school, whether it's remote or in person, after 5 months of being at home, and we don't know what all of those home situations look like. A lot of things have happened in our society since then, so how to deal with some of their emotions, how to understand conflict, how they can manage uncomfortable situations. I think all of these things are so important, and we are just so blessed to have the coaches and teams that we do have for this fall. One of the really cool things that is holding everything together, the glue that's going to hold this virtual and in-person program together, is brand new journals. So typically each of our Girls on the Run teams would have a bin with all the handouts, materials, things like that. But with the journal, this is something that the girls can keep with them. They can bring to each lesson if they're meeting in person at one of our community sites, or they can use during their virtual lessons. That way we don't have coaches handing out pieces of paper, collecting them back. Another little thing that we were doing for the safety of in-person, and then facilitating if it was just going to be a virtual lesson. So some of the trademarks of our program, such as their identity cards, their goal sheets where they track their progress, that they're moving more or that they're able to move for a longer period of time, are all encompassed in these journals. So that's the glue that's really kind of holding these two versions together. So I would like to ask all of you to do a Girls on the Run, part of a Girls on the Run lesson with me. You don't have to talk. I'm not going to call on anyone, but we are going to do a star power visualization. I thought that this would be really neat to share with all of you, because many of you are familiar with Girls on the Run. You know that we are empowering young girls to become strong women. You know that we have an impact on their physical health. But I wanted you to get a taste of some of the things that the girls are actually learning, actually experiencing during their lesson. So we are going to do this star power visualization. So place yourself in a comfortable position. Go ahead and close your eyes. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. As you breathe out, relax your body, starting with your toes, moving up to your shoulders, and ending all the way at the top of your head. Imagine that it's night and the sky is dark. From your window, you look up at the sky and see it filled with thousands of twinkling stars. Focus on just one of those stars and make it your own. Watch how your star shines brighter in the sky as you focus on it. Your star is one of millions, and while all stars have similar qualities, there's no other star in the sky that's exactly like yours. Your star is truly beautiful and unique. You are just like that star. Although you are one of millions of people, there is no one just like you. There's no one who laughs like you, no one who dances like you, No one who thinks of the world in the same way you do. Now reach up as high as you can and pull your star out of the sky. Hug it so tight that it becomes a part of you and you can feel it shining in your heart. Your star is connected to every organ and cell in your body and gives you a special power, star power. When your star power is activated, others can see it through the twinkle in your eye and the love in your heart. You activate your star power when you help a friend or when you sing at the top of your lungs. And your star power is the strongest when you are doing the things that make you happy. Now imagine a cloudy night. You can't see the stars. Just like some nights there are clouds in the sky and you can't see the stars, you may have some cloudy times when it's hard to activate your star power. These clouds can make you say negative things to yourself, like I can't do it, or I'm not good enough. The more negative things you say or hear, the thicker and larger the clouds become, and you have a harder time remembering your star power. When this happens, remember that your star power still shines inside you, right next to your heart. When you lose sight of your star power, there's different ways to activate it again. You might take a deep breath in and out, or you might do something that you enjoy, like read a book, listen to music, or go for a run. Sometimes you may not know how to activate your star power and you need someone to help. They might do this by giving you a hug, telling you a joke, or listening to you. Take a moment to feel your star power and see it shining. Remember that your star power is always inside you, letting you know how truly amazing you are. So when you're ready, you can sit up, open your eyes, and see the star power in each of your teammates and coaches. So the star power, as I mentioned, is a big theme of our program. We always are sharing with girls different ways to activate their star power, how to see other people's star power. And the way that we weave this throughout some of our lessons, I'm going to give you 2 more little samples of some of the things that we talk about during our program. There's 20 different lessons usually, so a lot of different content. But one of the most popular things that our girls tell us about, one of the tools in their Girls on the Run toolbox that they use, is to stop and take a breather. So as we give girls tools to deal with uncomfortable situations, it doesn't really mean that we can stop those things from happening to them. So when they do happen, what can we do? So one of our things is to stop and take a breather. And we go over the different steps of this process with our girls to stop, breathe, think about what they want to do or say, and then respond. And after we go through the different steps, and the girls will, have the opportunity, each team will get to come up with their own different hand signals, for stop, think, respond. Then we'll go through and we'll actually practice that during either our game or our workout for the day. So everything that we do in our lessons is reinforced again and again throughout that day's lesson. So we might be playing a game of tag, and whoever is it will freeze a girl and give them one of these scenarios. You see your friend getting bullied, what do you do? And the other girl will have a chance to go through her motions again of stop, breathe, think about it, and respond. And then they can work together to review it and see if there's something that they want to add, something that they might try differently the next time. But it gives the girls an opportunity to actually go through and practice some of these things. Another one is developing empathy. It is amazing to me how many women, whether it's coaches or women in different women's organizations, we talk about different trainings and things we might like to hear about from our speakers, people talk about empathy a lot, and you know, how to be empathetic. And this is amazing that, you know, we're actually going through this with 8 to 13-year-olds and kind of giving them the steps right away. So as I talked about star power, we asked the girls to see the other person's star power. Do they think that they have activated star power? Do they think that they might have some cloud cover? And then put yourself into their shoes and think about a way that you can respond that shows that you care. And again, we'll go through and practice these steps with the girls, giving them different scenarios. So there's a new student at your school, they speak a different language. Go through the steps. See their star. Do they have star power? Do they have cloud cover? Put yourself in their shoes and think about what emotions they might be feeling. Think about if you've ever felt this way. And then what could you do to respond in a way to show that you care? I really, really love these steps. And I love how quickly the girls take to it. You know, whenever we go through and do these examples, they are right on it. And here's a quote from one of our girls: if someone's picking on you, making you feel bad about yourself and angry, you just need to stop, breathe, think, and respond. So much of what we've been able to accomplish at Girls on the Run has been supported by this Women for Women Giving Circle. And with the 3 different grants that Peggy mentioned at the beginning, has totaled over $18,500 in support. And that's just meant so much to our program. Starting back to the first grant, before I was a staff member at Girls on the Run, our 6th through 8th grade program was called Girls on Track at that point. And they really wanted to expand that program because they really wanted to hit that age group of girls. And that was the largest Girls on Track season that we had to date, thanks to the Women for Women grant. We served 75 girls with 25 mentors at 5 different schools. A few years later, we were able to use some of our funding to support girls from low-income families participating in our program. We do have a scholarship process so that families can pay on a sliding scale what they can afford, with a minimum of $25 per family. And we were also able to buy some our Heart and Soul curriculum. We changed the name from Girls on Track to Heart and Soul, and it was time for an update of the middle school curriculum. So we were able to purchase all new Heart and Soul curricula and the journals that have always gone along with the Heart and Soul program. And we still have these materials and are using those. Our most recent grant in 2017 was again to purchase a new version of our Girls on the Run curriculum. This is the actual ones, number 2, that we were able to purchase with that grant, and these are still what we're using. And we were able to also do companion grown-up guides. So the grown-up guides are really neat. They give a very quick overview of some of the topics of the lesson that day. It gives families a way to talk with their girl about what they might have learned. And it also includes information on how the parent can train to do the 5K with the girl. They can do a 5K walk. There's another training program if they want to try a 5K walk run, a run walk, and a run. So just different ways to engage the family. So that was our most recent round. And then now this season, we're just adding the virtual curriculum that adapts the exact same lessons in a way that we can do them like we're all meeting right now. And there still is a physical activity component of each of the lessons that the girls, they will usually start out trying to do a game together for a virtual lesson, and then they'll go ahead and complete about another 20 minutes of physical activity on their own. And we give them different ways to measure what they're doing so that they can do it in whatever safe space they have right around their home or even inside. So just wanted to recap. We talked about the importance of the program as far as girls this age experiencing bullying, drops in self-confidence, and drops in physical activity. So from one of our longitudinal studies, we did find girls who were least active at the start of the season increased their physical activity by more than 40%. And also that 97% of our girls are learning the life skills that we talked about earlier: how to resolve conflict, being intentional in your decision making, helping others, how to manage your emotions, and then being able to apply some of these life skills to other areas of their life. So Erin, does anybody have any questions about some of the things that we're working on, or how we did any of our decision making this spring? Or
Yeah, so just for everyone who is watching, if you go to the chat in the bottom, or you can type in questions there. Also, if you'd like to raise your hand if you have questions, feel free to do that. You can find that through the participant button at the bottom, and if you click on your name, you can raise your hand, and that way I know you would have a question to ask. But thank you so much, Jennifer, for all that. That was wonderful. I just wanted to open it up to the entire group if there were any questions. We have about 10 minutes for any questions. Karen, looks like you have a question.
Yes, I mostly just wanted to say thank you for that presentation, and to all of you for arranging a virtual meeting for us. I don't have a major question, but of course my big concern with all nonprofits right now is you get fewer people paying for your programs, and how are you surviving, I guess, is my basic question.
we're figuring that out every day, just to be honest. We were absolutely grateful for the PPP loans that came out in April, and that was really the life ring that we needed at that time. Immediately pausing our payment plans was over $10,000. Our refunds were over $10,000, canceled events, and it was just boom, boom, boom. And again, I think many of us probably thought in March, okay, we'll go home, we'll be good for 2 weeks or 4 weeks, and we'll be able to come back out. So as time has gone on, and especially our biggest partnership, we do have community sites, but our biggest partnership is with schools. As we had those teams that were just a little bit too overwhelmed to take it on this fall, it's getting harder and harder. I do hope for another round of PPP funding, but I don't know if that's going to happen or if it does happen, if it might just be for the hospitality industry and not us. We have had our presenting sponsor already let us know that they will not be able to provide any funding in 2021. So we're faced with that. We have done a small cut to all staff salaries that has been ongoing since April. And we're probably looking at absolutely extending that through all of 2020. And we will do our best to continue with the people that we have, but there could be further changes in staffing in order to we want to make sure that we are doing everything we can to make sure that Girls on the Run is here for the long run. And we have a really amazing board and finance committee that are helping us figure out how we can, preserve some of our cash flow, and, figuring out what levers we have to pull in order to make sure that we are here next spring and beyond that.
Thank you.
Sarah Boyning, looks like you have a question.
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer, for this presentation. As a follow-up to Karen, can you explain what kind of fundraising you're doing in this time, and how you're converting to a virtual format, and how you're utilizing your board in those efforts?
Yeah, one thing that we have coming up, so we've been having a fall fundraiser called Dueling Pianos for the last 8 years, and it's a fun in-person event. We usually have 250 people there. we bring in some amazing entertainers from Michigan. And boy, figuring out that one, turning virtual, was pretty difficult. How we were going to do this, could we do this somewhere outdoors? But we're moving forward. That event is a week from Saturday, September 12th, virtual dueling pianos. It will be live because we didn't want to have another thing that people got back on their computers for that was a recording. So our entertainers will be live. Guests will be able to interact with them to make requests for songs. We are just, we're shortening it, the format a little bit, because again, we know people don't want to be on the computer for massive amounts of time when they pretty much are on the computer all day. So yeah, we have switched out to some virtual fundraising. We are adding a raffle to that event just because we know that the income, the revenue it's just not going to be as good as it has been in the past. So that's where our board has stepped up and come up with a few different raffle items that we can use. So if you're interested in coming to the event, you can do the raffle. If you're not interested in coming to the event, you can do the raffle. But yeah, getting creative. And then we've got another meeting in just 2 weeks to figure out what we would normally do for our big February fundraiser, knowing that we don't think we're going to be able to gather in large groups. So yeah, lots of adapting. It's hard, especially when non-for-profits, we feel like we're innovating every day, all the time. And so now it's like, okay, innovate more. But we haven't given up, and we still are working on some fundraising events and just ways to engage our board and our supporters.
Jennifer, there's a question from the chat. With kids less active, is there anything that could happen in person related to some of their other social service agencies that are serving at-risk youth, whether that's Compass for Kids or Boys and Girls Club? Collaboration between the other agencies at all?
So one of the things we really worked on hard for this fall was to develop a few more community sites where girls from any school could participate. So this is our largest amount of community sites that we've had so far. We have one partnership with Snap Fitness in Chatham, one partnership with Southwind Park in Springfield, and one with the Salvation Army Community Center. That's a new one for us, and they have just an amazing building with tons of space, an indoor track. So yes, definitely, we're always looking at ways that we can partner with other organizations. Frequently, whether it's, I think a couple of times over Camp Compass, and during the school year too, our program manager will visit the Compass kids, do some physical activity games with them. We can pull out different games from our curriculum. We don't have a partnership with Boys and Girls Club. We talked with them at the beginning of the summer, but one of the things for us was that we knew we needed experienced returning coaches. And so we didn't want to try to grow too much this fall, which is completely opposite of what we always want to, we always want to grow. We always want to attract new sites and new partnerships, but knew that we needed to, go with our sites that had returning coaches because of everything else we would be throwing at them.
Well, again, thank you so much. And if there's any other questions, feel free to ask that in the chat or raise your hand, looks like Karen. I just wanted to thank you again, Jennifer, so much. This has been so wonderful to hear everything that's going on with Girls on the Run and how you're adapting to so many different schools and kids. It really is wonderful. For the members, I wanted to let you know that we will have a hard copy invitation for the next few of these learning sessions as they come up, including, I know that several members had asked, about the grant recipient for this year of 2020, Enos Park Neighborhood Improvement Association. And I've been talking with them, and looks like in November they will be able to make a presentation. So we'll be able to hear about this year's grant recipient as well. So look for that in your mailboxes here in the next couple of weeks. and have those dates you can save for the next few learning sessions. Were there any other questions before we finalize all this?
I just wanted to say to Erin, Stacy, Peggy, and all of you, thank you so much for inviting us to be a part of this today. And I hope this was a good kickoff of some new ways that we can still continue to network and continue to be there for each other. I know it makes me feel good to see some of your faces again. And so just thank you again, and we'll keep on keeping on.
Good luck with everything this year. Thank you so much again, Jennifer.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll have more emails and again, hard copy invitation that will give more information of all the different events coming up. Thank you everyone for joining.